we're back for episode 8 of Card High. I am Noah. Jordan wanted me to do the intro for the first time. That's Jordan. And we got a very special guest with us, Mr. Ray. Ray decided he wanted to come on, do an episode with us, just kind of talk for a bit, get to know him, what he's interested in, ask us some questions. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself? It's finally nice to meet Jordan. First time talking to him, and then Noah, we have some history together. Talking on IG, and we met in person for the first time at the Burbank card show. So, how are you guys doing today?
Awesome. 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 It is a pleasure to meet you virtually here. Hopefully, you and I can link up here soon. I was supposed to be at Burbank, but I had to bail. I know Noah's given me crap since that day, but I had no choice but to stay home that weekend. I really wanted to be there, and I know I missed a hell of a show. Now, you were at the National too, correct?
No, I wasn't actually at the national. I haven't been to the national, but
Oh.
it's something I mean, after what Noah picked up, I feel like I have to go next year. I'm planning on maybe going next year, but we'll see how the Burbank show for Ontario turns out because um, it was pretty good the first time around, but I know some people had comments that it could have been better, but I know that the Burbank team I think they're buying out the whole convention. They're renting the whole thing this time,
Whoa.
so I think it'll be even crazier because I thought it was pretty big for the first time, but the fact that they're doubling down means it'll be pretty exciting. So we'll see. We'll see.
I like that. So when is the next one? Has that been released yet?
Yeah. So
I think it's like
the ticket.
early February.
Yeah. So
Oh.
early mid February. They haven't released the tickets yet. I know they said something around that in the next coming weeks they're going to announce when tickets are up or when you can purchase a table. But yeah, I mean I've been that's my closest thing to a bigger show. Obviously, does pales in comparison to like Dallas or the National, but definitely a big show. I mean, I would check it out. I was blown away last time. I was kind of like, wow, this is a crazy upgrade.
I like that. Again, I wish I could have been there. Um, do you typically go to a lot of shows like on the weekends, or do you stick to the big ones? What's your? I guess because you're in California, right?
Yeah. So it's pretty unique just because the way I started with cards itself. I'm based in Southern California in the Los Angeles County area. I initially started with Pokemon cards as a kid, um,
Ah.
and then kind of just stopped collecting for a bit. Come out of high school, picked it up again with Pokemon cards about 2017, coming into college. But then I realized not really into Pokemon all that much. I play the games here and there, but I didn't really like the cards too much anymore. So I sold off all my cards and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get into sports cards. And this is going to be really controversial, especially for you guys, because I know how much you guys love it. But when I first got into sports cards again, I didn't know Panini even existed. To me, in my head, it was like when I was a kid, Tops. Like to me, Tops came to mind. So I remember going to Target at like 2017, 2018, and going like looking for cards. And then I found like, 2017 football prism. That thing's worth a fortune now. I looked at it, bought a box, ripped it. I'm not shitting you when I say I was like, these cards are ugly. I cannot stand them. Threw the box away and I was like, yeah, I'll stick to Pokemon. And then come 2019, I'm done with Pokemon and I get back into sports cards and I'm like, now I can't get enough of Prism. So I'm kicking myself in the butt for just not going with my gut.
Hey, how would we know that the 2017 NFL Prism boxes would be worth a 401k today? How it's really incredible. I mean, but that's the
Yeah.
Mahomes effect, which looking back, yeah, I would have scooped everything on the shelf. But so Pokemon, it's funny you say that. That's how that was my first big cardboard anything back in the day. Base set, first edition, the whole nine. As soon as that stuff hit, I was all into it. And of course, like everybody else in their story, their mom threw out XYZ binder or box or put it in a garage sale or donated it to the church, whatever. But man, I know I still remember going to Target as a kid and looking at the basketball and whatever they had, and I always wanted to pull a jersey card. Always wanted. Now, back then I didn't know it was 1 in 488 retail packs, but I still wanted to do it. So that's relatable, and I love that. So now that you're back in, I know you've mentioned, we talked a little bit before we started tonight. You're pretty heavy into football. Is that kind of like your main PC right now with NASCAR sprinkled in, or what are you looking at right these days?
So actually, it's unique because starting back with football, I started mostly with Raider players. I freaking love Darren Waller.
Okay.
Fortunately, he's no longer with the Raiders, but I have a ton of 101s of his rookie autos, some Derek Carr, a lot of older players like Gene Upshaw, Art Shell, Charles Woodson. But then when I kind of got burnt out of just collecting Raider players because they had a ton of cards, and obviously some element of collecting, you kind of want to make a bit of money so you could keep on collecting more. So with with the Raiders, no one's buying Derek Carr 101s or Darren Waller 101s. So I basically kept my Raider PC to the side, and then I just started kind of flipping, saving money up, and then all of a sudden I got into NASCAR. Just listening to the Dale Jr. download, because I was one of those guys, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I was more so like, all they do is make left turns.
Right.
Come to find out, it is a lot more intricate. It is a lot harder, and it is insane to be a race car driver. TV doesn't do it any justice at all. It's one of
Amen.
the sports where TV does nothing for it. So what I decided to do was go heavy into NASCAR, but I had a kind of a side stash of like high value cards. At the Burbank show, I actually made a big trade with some cash on it. So I don't really have any other, sports cards from my NASCAR collection except for one 2019 flawless cleat patch auto for Patrick Mahomes out of 5. So that's
Wow.
my big card right now, that if I go to Burbank, I'm taking that one card with me, and then all my NASCAR cards, and that's all I take, because I know I can, if I want to move it, I want to trade up or down, I want to do anything with it, I know it's valued high enough that I'm pretty comfortable doing whatever I want with it. But everything else is just NASCAR. I've just kind of fallen into that rabbit hole of collecting NASCAR, and I've just haven't stopped. It's too addicting.
Hey, and it doesn't kill your back in the bank. That's
Yeah,
the
man.
other bonus.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
being in football, I mean, flawless. You got flawless. You got immaculate. You got NT. I mean, hell, one box of football NT is like almost 3 cases of NT racing. So it's definitely a good move. I like that. That is good. So do you focus on a specific driver, team, or just cool stuff when it comes to racing?
I want to say at first I know I started off with, because when I first got into NASCAR, I was just kind of like the guys that, Dale Jr. had on his podcast, so that I kind of gravitated towards. And I want to say the first driver that I bought cards for and I try to PC a lot, was actually Kyle Busch. So mostly Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Richard Petty, Jimmy Johnson. I love Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Jr. So, and anything that's cool and it intrigues me, but mostly like some of the bigger names, just because to me it's just insane that you can get a 1 of 1 of Jimmy Johnson, who is, in my opinion, is the greatest driver of all time.
I love it. I like that a lot. That is a solid list of motorsport legends. So I commend you for that. And Dale Jr. Download is, if you guys haven't listened to it, is by far one of the greatest listens out there. It's not just one side. I mean, it is everything. You get both sides of stories. You get ins and outs. You can talk to drivers. They do such a good job. So I'm glad you were able to find that, and it brought you over to this little part of the hobby. It's a beautiful thing.
So,
Yeah, man, I have it.
Ray, I was curious if you could kind of tell us kind of how you feel about the sets that are kind of currently out. What are your favorites? What are some sets that maybe you'd like to see brought in from other sports? What is your kind of opinion? I know you're kind of really big on NT. I was curious kind of where you feel about the other sets and maybe something that you would like to see kind of come into NASCAR.
Yeah, so currently my favorite set would have to be National Treasures. Just because again, I started my collection with I think my first card that I bought for NASCAR was a let me see. I got it right here. I got to look for it, but I have it and I don't think I'll ever sell it just because of what it did for me in terms of here it is. So I have and I'll send you guys a picture after, but
Perfect.
it is a 2017 winning signatures on card auto of Kyle Busch. Um, and that was the first card I saw. I think I bought it at the time for $30, and I
Oh,
think I checked about 3-4 times on Google, uh, looking up like best NASCAR drivers of all time, just because I knew about Kyle Busch, but I didn't know too many of his accolades, and I was just like, no way, this guy who's considered the best of the best, no way I just bought an out of 10 NT auto for $30. That's insane. So to me, it got even crazier when I started looking up 101s. I saw the nasty patches. I was kind of freaking out, going, "Why is no one buying these?" On patches alone, I'll buy National Treasures NASCAR, even if it's somebody I don't like. If the patch is nice, I'll buy it. Um, so for me, it's got to be NT in terms of my favorite set, but a close second would have to be Chronicles Racing. I don't know
nice.
what it is about Chronicles Racing. I really like it. I like Chronicles, um, in other sports, but with NASCAR, I don't know, just the variety you can get, and especially because they don't produce most sets. Um, I just really like it. Another card that made me appreciate Chronicles was, and again, I'll send another photo, but I have a Richard Petty Spectra from Chronicles patch auto out of 5, and
Oh, okay, very
just
nice.
yeah. So just the variety
Good card.
Yeah,
you can find within Chronicles.
those sets in Chronicles, because yeah, we get our Donruss Chronicles Prism NT. That's just been the recipe for God, what, since 2020, pretty much. Had Prime in
But
1819,
since
and
2019.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
we
Prime
had
was 19,
Prime,
so yeah,
but we had
2020.
certified. That ended in 18. Torque ended in 17. Select. So we've been on that four product or that four release combo, and that's where Chronicles fits in real nice because you got Phoenix, Titan, you got all those different sets within the product that allows you to chase different golds, different 101s, all that good stuff. So that's a nice little pairing. I like the NT Chronicles. You really can't lose. I really don't think you can lose with that.
Yeah, the only one I'm waiting for though, man, is I know I'm sure you guys know him. I know no one knows him, but Crimson Collects Brian. Um,
Yeah.
One thing I was freaking out a bit, and set I want to come to NASCAR, and I'm hoping because NASCAR has lost the rights to the players associations, I'm crossing my fingers that they double down with NASCAR and start pushing it a bit more and investing more money into it. I really hope they make flawless
Oh,
racing, because I know they teased that with Logano, right? They did some like mock up with him, and I was like, no way. If this drops, I'll lose my mind if they release flawless racing.
I would cry. I would probably I would probably cry. Flawless would be one of the greatest additions to the racing hobby that we could possibly get. I've had a couple like custom card guys out there mock up some stuff. I know Noah's had a custom card designed in that flawless, nature,
Oh yeah, I forgot about I did that.
right?
Yeah.
Just to see what they would look like. And man, if they, like you said, when the NFL and NBA rights are officially Fanatics and Panini has us left, pretty much. Do they? I agree. I hope they triple down and go all in and give us those sets. And I'm not saying we need 80 different, releases like football, but you could double it up and give us 8 or 9, and those high end sets would kill. Could you imagine? Because one, I know they're hoarding memorabilia right now. It was clear from NT this
100%.
year, NT last year, and the lack of wow in the patch itself used in Chronicles. Like some of the, I love the Spectre fire suits. Like you mentioned, the Petty you have to 5. And like I have a Haley Deegan to 10, and it's literally black napkin. There's nothing on it. It's all napkins, right? So I know they've either been hoarding the good chunks of patches and memorabilia for something big, which could be Prime. It could be the Prime release coming. But maybe it's still sprinkled in, and maybe there is something bigger on the horizon. And if that happens, you bet your butt we're going to be busting briefcases daily, without a doubt, without a doubt. So that
Get
is
into bidding wars with some of you guys.
yeah, it'll be good. And I think traditionally, just racing. I know, and I have talked about this a bunch. Is the racing, the money portion of the racing hobby, the corner that we sit in. It's not huge. Now, we have had some really big sales. There have been some massive cards, but those are, 1 in 50 cases you're going to pull one of those big boys? Realistically, that would push values on the lower end up. And I think everybody would have a little bit more fun with being able to buy and sell things easier and have that cash for the higher end sets. So that I love. And since we're talking about new sets and what we'd like to see, I actually have an oddball set. And I want to get your opinion on this, Ray. The one thing that I've always loved that Panini has made for other sports is optic choice. And it's a one-packer, 10
We've
cards.
had this convo many times.
Yeah, I will die on this hill. A 10 cards in a one-packer box. You get 3 autos, a mem, a couple parallels, a couple base, maybe a bonus auto, but then you can scrap Donruss and just get rid of all the base cards and just give us the goods. Give us the goods. So you add a flawless, you give us a little optic choice in the middle. We have a nice little spectrum to play with. It would be fantastic. Super good. And that is something I would love to see.
Oh, and I definitely agree with that, because I know for me, when I again getting back into sports cards, for me I actually preferred optic contenders for football when it would come out,
Yes.
as opposed to just base Donruss. Like, to me, I mean, I have friends in the hobby as well, and they love Donruss because of the the short prints that you can get, the super short prints that you can get. But to me, it's a lot of fluff most of the time. I like the sheen that optic contenders has. It just, I feel like it's a little more quality, even if they're just base level cards. Like, to me, that just shows they're putting in a little more money and a little more effort to print them. As so with Donruss, I feel like they just print that thing, in sheets and sheets and sheets and sheets and sheets, and because they got dinged corners all the time. But no, definitely more variety is needed in NASCAR. There's definitely some sets that I would definitely love to see have NASCAR have their own take on. But yeah, it's just real nice, real nice. Kind of excited. I'm hoping they do something with NASCAR soon, but you can only dream, right?
Yeah, you just hurry up and wait and see what they do. That's all we got.
So I'm gonna jump in because we were kind of talking about sales, and I know, Ray, you've made a good sale before. So I was curious, kind of how you have gone about making big sales. What's kind of your thought process behind it? I know it's kind of difficult to move big NASCAR, so I was curious the ways that you kind of went around making those big sales.
So that the card you're referring to was my I forget what year it is. I gotta look at an old picture of it, but I believe it was 2020 or 2021 National Treasures Racing. Very interesting how I picked up that card. I was first getting into NASCAR. I think I had just picked up I want to say it was my Richard Petty and Jimmy Johnson dual auto out of 25 from 2021 NT. And I had just taken a bunch of NASCAR cards to, I believe it was the SoCal Premiere. And I have a buddy there named Chris. And he was just talking to me. We're just catching up. And all of a sudden I start talking about NASCAR. He goes, "Oh, wow, you watch NASCAR too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting into it, man. I'm actually started collecting the cards." So I show him that dual auto. And he goes crazy. He goes, dude, will you sell this to me? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of like it, just knowing the history behind these drivers, learning it. So, I think I'm just gonna hold it right now. And then he starts going on eBay, looking up. He's like, man, I follow NASCAR, but I didn't even cross my mind that they make cars, let alone Panini makes them. So, he starts buying stuff at the show. I don't know what he buys. And fast forward, I want to say half a year later, same show, different location. We're catching up again, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got to show you something." And he pulls out that one of one, Bob Sparkplug card, and I go, "Is it for sale?" He's like, "Nah, not for now." Fast forward a bit later, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm looking for cash. I'll sell this to you. Do you want to buy it?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll take it off your hands." End up buying it at the SoCal premiere, and then I think fast forward a year later, I noticed, again, when I started hoarding all these cards and just going crazy buying NASCAR, I noticed they got harder and harder to find Jimmy Johnson 101s, because I know there was an Alpine Stars 101 booklet from NT that sold for 600, and then another one sold for 700, and then another 101 booklet sold for 800, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. So then I started freaking out because I'm like, no, people finally caught up. I want more 101s. So I think on a whim, I think I was scrounging for cash at the time. I think I just listed it on eBay because at the time I couldn't find any Jimmy Johnson 101s, and I knew NT was about to release. So I said, hey, screw it. I know most of the time cards get their hype before release date. I'm just gonna post it at 2,500 just because of who he is. I think he's the Tom Brady of NASCAR, so I thought that was fair. Did I think I was going to get the price? Absolutely not. I was sitting at home one day. Um, I just came home from work. I'm sitting at my computer, and this guy messages me on eBay, and he goes, "Hey, man, what's the best price you'll do on that Jimmy Johnson?" I said, "I don't know, man. Like, let me think about it. I'm kind of teetering to not selling it, so I'm might hold it. It's my only one of one at the time, at least. It was my only one of one of him, so I was kind of didn't want to part with it, just for me to go inside the house, grab a cup of water, and I come back, and this guy just he bought it, messages me and says, "Hey, I know, I know." I know you said you didn't want to sell it, but I just can't let this walk. And I'm not sure if he was freaking out too because he didn't see any other one-on-ones, but he ended up buying it. I shipped it out the very next morning via expedited, secure shipping, and rest is history.
Wow.
When it comes to selling cards, you just got to navigate, right place at right time. A lot of people say, I know it's such a cliche, all these, card influencers say, but if you follow a sport enough, you know when the best time to sell is and when the best time to buy is.
Absolutely. Now, which one? What Jimmy was that? Do you remember what patch auto was? It
I
like a
can send you
patch
the.
auto or?
So Jordan, I'll send you the photo.
Okay.
It was. Remember when we did our kind of top sales? It was the all-time Jimmy sale when we did that video, and it's the 2021 NT Bosch spark plugs. I can pull the photo. I'll send
Oh,
you the photo real quick.
I remember
You
that.
probably know what I'm
That
talking
was
about when I say
that's
that, but
the embroidered patch, right?
yeah,
Yes, I remember. I
correct.
think that was in my watch
I can
list.
send you the. I'll send you the photo anyways, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, the picture doesn't do it justice, by the way. That patch like popped. That's why I really
Oh
didn't want
yeah,
to give it away, because I was like, man, this card's insane. I've never seen anything like this on football, basketball, any other sport.
man. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, there's even. I feel like no, I'm not. I don't do football. Like I'll if Target has a prism or an optic blaster, I'll grab one just for me, right? But like I don't do football. I mean, I've never really been into it enough to like want to collect hard. But you're right. There isn't a wow factor even in the high end product. It's like if you don't get a shield or a swoosh or a laundry
Yep.
tag, you're just gonna get it's basically napkin and maybe a part of a big number or a logo, right? But with NASCAR, I mean, their suit is littered with these beautiful patches or sponsors in general. And I like that you're excited about. It's race worn. They used it. You can almost figure out when it's from depending on the color of the suit and stuff and the year. And that does make it more fun. It really makes it unique. Like with Martin Truex Jr., Dan, the man, the goat, he was out here for the champ weekend, and we were talking about an Interstate Batteries patch he got that was on an orange fire suit itself. So it had like the orange background to it. And I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen. He's like, yep, you only had the one orange suit that had those patches on it, and that's what it came from. So it gets you can get a little more in depth, and like you said earlier, the history behind the stuff. It just brings another level of joy when you pull one of those, because it gives you more of a story to follow along.
I sent you the photo, so you can put it in
perfect.
the video.
Cool.
Make sure you don't forget to do that. But I just sent you the photo.
I will do my best. Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
well, congrats.
I also
on
have
that
to go on a
sale.
little rant.
Congrats on that sale, man.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Do you do a lot on eBay?
Oh, if you, I'll probably send you guys a link to my eBay store. Before
Cool.
I started collecting cards, I had maybe like 10, 20 sales on eBay, and you can tell by how many times people review you. I went from having 10 reviews on my eBay page to I have 100. I'm at 189 now.
Whew.
So I'm crazy on eBay, man. I know.
That's awesome.
I know. Crimson collects. We message a lot, and he's always joking with me, and he's like, dude, what do you look up to find these cards, man? Like you find stuff that I know I'm on eBay a lot, but how are you finding some stuff? But I'm telling you, wake up in the morning on my commute to work, I check eBay in the morning right before I bed. I check eBay, and sometimes you just find stuff if you just know how to look and know how eBay works. I've been gearing more towards in-person sales and whatnot, but just with the landscape the past year or so, everybody thinks they're a master salesman. So I just rather have eBay cut that out, because especially here in SoCal, I'm not sure how it is in the regions where you guys live, but the amount of people who are master negotiators is pretty tiresome sometimes. So I just rather deal with eBay, man. Honestly.
You ain't lying, buddy. It happens all the time. And my last eBay question. Now, I just got one more for him, and then we can move on. I don't do a lot of eBay selling myself. I'm going to start doing that first of the year. That's one of my things for next year I'm going to do. But one of the problems I had earlier this year and late last year when I did have some listings up is, instead of getting a, hey, what would you take for this card? I probably got more messages that were just pissed off people, angry, like yelling through their message about the card. Like, I have the card and they need it, but they don't want to pay for it, right? Do you deal with, now, as much as you sell, I'm sure, do you get people that are just irritated or angry that you won't, quote, make their deal? Like you said, the master negotiators.
Wait, before Jordan, before he goes, I'm gonna tell Ray. I know what he's gonna talk about, and please don't name names. You can keep it anonymous.
Oh, no. Of course. No, I'm
yeah,
completely
but
professional.
fun story.
And no hard feelings. I understand. But I'm gonna explain why I don't like that, especially from the aspect I will never name names. I'm professional, man. I have no hard feelings. If anything, it makes me
I just
laugh.
know where you're going with it. I know where you're going with it.
So it's funny that you bring that up, Jordan, because there's somebody, no one knows who it is because I told them who it is, but again, I'm going to keep it cordial and professional. But I have one individual. I have no clue why he stopped, because last time I used his actual name, and he, I think, got a little scared. He went, how the hell does this guy know me? He follows me on Instagram. I don't know how he hasn't correlated the cards with the person yet, but I have I'll just say it right now, just because I'm not too worried about people knowing the card. But about 2-3 years ago, I want to say it was 2 years now, I bought a 2016 1/1 Chase Elliott rookie patch auto. I bought it for $250 because I don't know what happened. for whatever reason, there was a consignment company, and I don't know if these cards fell, off the back of a truck or somewhere, but they posted 200 one-of-one booklets from different years of National Treasures NASCAR. So I'm just going through eBay, checking them, looking at them, and I go, no way, this is a Chase Elliott 101 rookie booklet. Like that, this is insane.
I remember
So
that sale.
Yeah, I go and I bought it. I posted it, and again, because this was more so me being ignorant at the time because I didn't know the prices. So to me, when I was looking at Chase Elliott at the time, I was like, this guy is the Patrick Mahomes in NASCAR. At the time, he's a young guy. He already has a championship under his belt. He's going to be the next big thing. So then I start looking at other comparable one-on-ones, and I think I found a one-of-one printing plate from, I forget what set, from ComC. ComC posted it at 2,000. So my logic is, okay, this is a true booklet, so I'll post it for 2,500. Did I think I was ever going to get the money for it? No way. Maybe now, actually, now that NASCAR's picking up selling Chase Elliott's significance to it. But as soon as I posted that, man, I got hate up the wazoo. I was getting messages telling me, you're a fraud, you're a scam for selling it at this price. Who do you think you are? And again, back to Noah, I don't mind people calling me out for it. I actually like that they called me out for it. What I didn't like was the lack of, if you're trying to educate somebody on the community or whatnot, tell them why it's bad. I wasn't mean. I didn't use any vulgar language. I wasn't rude. I said, "Hey, man, it's a free market. I bought it. Yeah, is this price a bit steep? Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna get the price for it." I now just keep it up on eBay just out of principle because people love messaging me about it. So I'm like, okay. And why I also don't like it is, if we go, I've now discovered the NASCAR Facebook groups because of Noah.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to look at prices. And it's funny because some of these people I see messaging me, who I figured out who they are, they post cards and they say, name your best offer. So they're fine with ripping you off because you don't know the price because you can't look up prices on Facebook. Your best bet is going on 130 point and looking for something comparable. But when they're trying to buy something at a steep price, all of a sudden it's an issue.
Yep.
So for me, I just find it ridiculous. I get it. I understand why those guys are like that, and I respect that. I get it because NASCAR community is niche. I know these guys want to keep their community niche, but when you have 40, 50 crazy cards and you're getting mad at me for having one card, and getting mad at saying there's all these influencers and people coming into the hobby, we need to keep them from it. Keep them from getting in the hobby, but you're inadvertently being a gatekeeper and doing the same thing because who makes you the CEO and chairman of NASCAR cards, my friend?
Right.
It's a free market.
Yeah.
So I just keep it up there, just to make people angry.
I love
just
it.
to make a few people in particular. That's I'll say my piece on that.
I fully support that.
Probably gonna sell it's gonna sell in a few months, probably.
Oh yeah, and then and you know what's funny? The same guy who messaged me about the Chase Elliott 101, I wish I had the screenshots still. He messaged me about the Jimmy Johnson patch, and he said, "Hey moron, no one's ever gonna buy this for that price. Get your head out of your ass." So I said, I made the sale, and I would tell my dad about it, and my pops was like, "You should message him back." And I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm not going out of my day to message people like this guy is." He messaged me on Christmas, man, about the card.
Wow.
I said, "Man, you should be enjoying Christmas, not making fun of just some dude halfway across the country."
Oh wow, yeah. That you know what? I say keep it. I say raise the price. Raise the price. Keep it up there. That's a beautiful thing. I love it. No, that is incredible. See, that's just, you know what? I eBay is what it is, and you know what? If that happens, it happens. But Noah and I have been pretty vocal. I'm vocal in our group a lot about valuing cards and how I feel like some people are almost scared to ask for the price. Right? If somebody wants to buy it, they'll buy it. If they can't, they'll probably hit you and be like, "Hey man, I can't do 400, but I got 325." Like it's not going to be the end of the world if you make a deal with somebody, right? So, but I think that's kind of been a stigma in racing, other than F1, just NASCAR here, where it's like, "Oh yeah, I'll make you the deal. Here you go, man." And then that's good, and I like that. Take care of somebody on a PC card or completing a rainbow. Sure, hook them up, but not every card has to be to everybody's liking, and that's the
Fire
beautiful
sale.
part about it.
Fire
yeah,
sale.
yeah, the fire sale
Yeah,
mentality.
we got a fire sale going on tonight.
Oh God.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that too, and the reason why I told Noah why it just kind of confused me was if you look at if you look at a if you look at some sales, I'm the highest person buying it. Like Noah told me about I actually have the 2021 Prism Dale Earnhardt Jr. White Sparkle 1 of 1 PSA 10.
Ooh, okay.
I've had 3 cards. I've had 3 cards featured that I bought featured on NASCAR radio as because they do that segment at the end for like top sales of. I own 3 or 4 of those cards, so I don't mind overpaying. I mean, I've overpaid for tons of my cards. Do I ever make a hissy fit when I see another card sell for cheaper? No, because that's part of the hobby, man. Like if you
Amen.
like the card, you're willing to dish out the price. So
Absolutely.
goes both ways.
It's collecting in a nutshell. I like that. I want it. I'm gonna buy it. It's you know what? No different than people that collect shoes. Same thing. I like them. I'm gonna buy them. I dig it. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate the insight on eBay. That's not those are not waters I have yet decided to swim in. So we will see how that works out. Noah, you had something you wanted to bring up. I'm curious to know what it is.
Yeah, so this one drove me insane on Facebook, so it's a mini rant, but I'm also gonna make it a question to Ray. So I know Jordan, me and you, a few episodes back, we did our whole grading episode, right?
Yes.
Talking about why we should grade, what to grade. So then we got guys on Facebook, right? Guy, I can't remember the exact situation, right? I don't even remember the names of people. It was somebody was selling some cards and whatever slabs, and the guy was like, "Oh, I want to crack these out for my one touch." Cool, whatever, right? Like, not a big deal. And then these guys in the comments are losing their mind. Why would anybody grade NASCAR? Like these, I'm guessing they're like 60-year-old men, like complaining. Like these old guys are complaining. Why would you ever grade NASCAR? Like it doesn't. Why would you like just like these old guys complaining about grading stuff? And I was like, dude, like every other sport grades stuff. Like, and there is stuff in NASCAR that's worth grading. So it was getting me really irritated that these guys were complaining about people grading cards. Probably because they would come back tens and they were too much for these cheapskates who are like 60 years old and they want their $5 NASCAR cards. So I was kind of curious, bringing this to you, Ray. Kind of what's your thoughts on buying graded cards? I know you buy graded cards, but what's your thought on kind of grading NASCAR? Do you look for it specifically? Do you look to buy raw? I kind of do a mix match sort of thing. So I was curious where you're on with that.
Yeah, so for me, I've as a collector, and when I started out collecting, I never used to grade a lot. I've only ever had one grade submission. I collect raw, but I've been meaning to submit more cards for grading. I love grading. My rebuttal to those people that get upset about it or upset about grading is it keeps the card in pristine condition. I get why people grade. I actually, again, when it comes to grading, and back to the previous point I made of buying for what you want, I'll actually pay a premium on a 10, on a PSA 10 or BGS 9.5 NASCAR card, because I find it so hard to find good graded cards that like I'll just pay anything. If I like it, I'll buy it. I think it's funny that you mentioned that, people do get upset about that. I don't understand why they get upset about that, but I think it goes back to what I said with I think they just like their niche little hobby. They don't like people encroaching on it, but yet they're the majority of ownership of specific cars or I mean specific drivers, players. They already have a ton. I think it's just people just complaining to complain. I love graded cards. You've actually inspired me to start submitting more cards myself, because there are a few cards that I've pulled straight out of the pack where I've bought and wanted to grade. I actually have a PSA order ready to send when I get the cash, but it's about a $500 order, and I want to submit over 10
Solid.
cards, but I definitely want to submit some. I mean, I'm just going to say one for now, but one of the cards I actually pulled at the Burbank Card Show. I was leaving the first time around at the Ontario location, didn't really make any big deals. I had a few $1,000s in cash, and I said, man, am I really going to walk away empty-handed? Ended up finding the one guy, and again, because I'm in SoCal, so if I tell people I sell NASCAR cards, they think I'm high or something. They go, I didn't even know they
Oh my
made them.
God.
Hey, that's
They go,
relatable,
that's a
man.
thing?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So then I go and I find a booth. There's a guy who has three 2022 Panini Prism Racing boxes. He has three of them. I don't know how the hell he got them, where he got them, but he's selling sealed stuff. And I go up to him and I go, hey man, and I think this is like 3-4 months after it came out. I go, hey man, how much you want for the boxes? And I forget what price he gave me. And then I pretty much said, well, I'll give you this. And he's like, he goes, nah man, I can't do that. And I'm like, I'm either going to give you this or I'm going to be the only guy that buys this, and you're going to have to take that home and open it and go, who the hell is Ryan Blaney? Who the hell is Kyle Larson? So I come home. I'm kind of sad because I didn't make any deals. I start opening boxes, and I pulled a out of 9 patented penmanship Chase Elliott 1 out of 9 gold prism. So that's definitely going to that submission,
That's a beauty.
as well as some sealed cards that I got. But I say grade with who you want. I prefer Beckett and PSA. SGC, I'm kind of meh about. I feel like vintage cards look better in the SGC slabs, and I don't know. I really like grading. I personally don't do it, but I can see the value and why people do it. I would do it from a preservation standpoint, but also if you're into the value of cards, I mean, it could drive it up significantly.
Well
Yeah,
said.
I mean, you missed out on my Jimmy Johnson. You missed out on my Jimmy Johnson PSA 10.
I know, man. I was. I'm telling you, man. I've been saving, and it's just you sent me that message.
I know.
and was
I know
like,
how it goes.
man.
Trust me, I get how it goes.
It's a struggle, man. It's a struggle. It's definitely it's definitely nice to see how the value, because I think me and you talked about this, how I feel like when I was collecting NASCAR earlier and I was doing searches for cards, I can't quite remember if I'm correct, but I could have sworn I used to see way more graded cards, and all of a sudden now that NASCAR has kind of gotten a bit bigger or more popular, people are secretly buying it and hoarding it, because I don't know who the heck's buying it other than us.
Yeah.
But one of my very first graded NASCAR card was a 2016 Panini National Treasures Kyle Larson dual materials gold out of 10. Relic auto. I still have it to this day, and I'll send you guys pictures after of everything I've talked about. But at the time, the price I bought it for, and I know I'm going to hurt myself revealing the price I bought it for, because what I know I could sell it now. But I mean, heck, I love the cards, and I bought that card for $50
Yeah.
on I think it was ComC or DC Sports 87. It was just the
Yeah, DC
consignment.
Sports 87.
Yep.
That's a great pickup. Great pickup.
Yeah, man.
I say the prices of my cards all the time.
I've told Noah there's been,
You're good here.
because you wake up, everybody hits eBay while they're doing their morning in the bathroom, right? You're getting ready, you got your phone, you're scrolling. Boom, I got all my 9 safe searches. Let's just go by newly listed, see what we got. Because obviously it's changed in the last 8 hours. So I boot it up, I look. There's been more times than not, I'm like, man, I got 4 of those, but that's a 10, and that's a great deal. And I'm going to buy it. I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to have it. I'm going to have 3 or 4 of them. Especially if it's like a case hit, or low numbered or an auto, and if it's a 10, 9, 9, 5, whatever, and it's like, okay, my grading fee would be what, $25, shipping, okay, that's $6, and I'm picking up the card for 70 or 50 or 40 or whatever. It's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer. All the work's already done, and it's graded well. But change is scary for a lot of people, so the graded stuff, I do agree. I know it's picking up steam. A lot of groups are doing group subs now, which I love to see. There are obviously a couple, graders out there, which we've talked about in a previous episode, that you definitely should stay away from if you're grading for value. But what I like, Ray, that you said, if you collect to collect, right? You're not collecting to, I got to get inventory for the show this weekend and then hopefully sell everything and go buy more. You're into the sport. You're into the hobby. You're into it. So you're going to buy what you like. And that's what we need more of. So props to you, sir. Definitely love that. What do you got next here, Noah?
That's a great question. I set my phone to the side, so let's see what we got next.
I got a question for Mr. Ray here.
Yeah, go for it. While I try to find where my list went.
Ray, if you sat and looked at all your NASCAR cards in front of you on the table, what is the one card out there that you don't have that you've either been looking for or know you want to track down? Do you have that unicorn?
Yes. Noah has a copy of it. He talked about it before the show. I really, really, really want the 1992 Trax Senior and Petty Auto.
Oh.
That is the card. And again, because I've been trying to get more into vintage, I follow what's his name? Crap. You can't buy these, or I forget the gentleman's IG username and YouTube channel. That guy has gotten me into. He's the one that got me into the vintage NASCAR stuff, because or not vintage, but early 2000s, 80s, 90s stuff. I just love watching his videos, and like that has got me stoked to collect older cards, just because I know the value behind them and just the history behind them. I kind of had that itch scratched a bit when I picked up my Dale Senior, my press proof Dale Senior auto. But man, for me, I know a lot of people will say the 1972 Petty, but for me, it's got to be the Petty Senior auto. I feel that's like the, I don't know, like the Mickey Mantle of NASCAR, in my opinion.
Hell yeah, it's a couple of goats with ink, and it's their first pack pull dual autograph. You can't, that's
Jordan,
the card.
I'm telling you that I think I'm gonna be the guy who gets one and gets Jimmy to sign it on the back. I think I'm going to do it at some point. It's just because how can you not do that to get all of them? And I know some purists are gonna say I'm ruining it, but I'm gonna get 21 championships on a card. And I know Ray's gonna be so jealous, and he's probably gonna buy it from me. But
I think that'd be awesome.
I can't wait for that one.
I think Jimmy would sign that for you too. And yeah, the 92 Trax. So, Ray, I was fortunate enough. I was screwing around on eBay about 2 years ago, and I actually ended up buying a redemption set from 92 Trax. So, within the product itself, like you could pull the auto, right? You could just pull the auto out of a pack. There were only 27 full autograph set redemptions. And if you pulled it, you mailed it into Trax, blah, 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 self-addressed, stamped envelope, the whole old school thing. And then they sent you out a little clamshell with the full auto set and then a blank cover card that just said Trax autograph series on the top with nothing on the back.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and I was able to pick one. Now, I knew they existed. I'd never seen one, obviously. I mean, I never laid my eyes on, but when I was looking at that listing, I was like, man, I wonder if and sure enough, it came with the little card that they sent with it. So I know it's one of the 27 sets, and I have it sitting here. It's prepped. They're clean, ready to go to grading. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it because I figure if I have it, I might as well slab the set. But once I got that card in my hand, it really is. It's a historical piece of the racing hobby. So when you get yours, I will cheer loudly. I 100% will be stoked for you. It's really one of the best cards out there. And when we saw that one Noah got at the National, we all did like triple takes. It's like, is that what that is? And sure enough, there it was. And then it was his. And if that's your unicorn, man, I will keep my eyes peeled for you. and hopefully we can help you find one here shortly in good time, so you can add that to the stash. That would be awesome. That's a great pick. That is a great pick, by the way.
Yeah, it's that or the stamped senior rookie. But
Oh
but
God,
for me,
yes.
I don't know. I just love the way that card looks. Those are close tied, but if I had to pick, it's definitely the dual auto.
I dig it. Both solid historical cards, for sure. And I do love. I think that's Michael's channel. That I didn't buy these.
Yes, yes,
He
yes.
does some really cool box breaks and stuff that you just can't find, like VIP Press Pass Hobby, all sorts of cool stuff. So, shout out to you, sir. I do enjoy those videos when he uploads them. He doesn't do as many as I'd like, because I think I've watched all of his
Yeah,
now. I think I've watched them all
yeah.
twice.
Me too. I've exhausted everything. Yeah.
But it's cool because
I
he
feel
just knows everything about that box, everything that you could possibly get out of it, and it is a good time.
I feel bad because he tried to buy a card for me on eBay, and he made an offer, and I was like, no, I can't do that. And then I sold one of the cards. Ray, I think you remember I picked up those like all those like late '90s cards at Burbank.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, so I picked those up, and one of them I sold was a can't remember. I think it was one of the three wides. It was like from '97 or '98, and it had like sheet metal tire, something like that.
Yeah.
And I sold it, and it didn't end up going to him. But the problem was is that I didn't take it out of the screw down. So when it got to the guy who bought it originally, it was like almost split in half. But like I had no way of knowing,
Oh,
so I had to give him a full refund when
Oh,
I could have just sent it to Michael, and he would have been probably he still would have been happy with it because he asked me afterwards, like, oh, like when you sent him the refund, did you get the card back? And I was like, nah, like I just let him keep it. It was fine. So like I could have given it to him if I had it back.
the
That
dangers
was a
of
shame. It
one
was a nice Mark
touches.
Martin.
The dangers of one touch. You don't have that happen in slab.
Dangerous, dangerous,
yeah. There you
dangerous
go.
screw down.
Uh,
Dangerous screw down.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely. I know the when I first started watching Michael's channel, I remember he posted a video where I guess he had sold a gentleman two press proof Jimmy Johnson 101s,
oh,
but I was like. I messaged him and I was like, by any chance, I think I messaged him on YouTube. I'm like, do you still have these? I would pay anything to have these. And one of them was a BGS 9.5
oh,
for press proof patch. Like I think it was a sheet metal auto at a BGS 9.5. I just those that's one of the cards that I feel like I just wish I never saw, because then I just know I'll never have it.
right?
I'll know I'll never have it. And but it probably went to somebody who appreciates it. But I know that's one of them. I know there's also a 2016 um, white sparkle PSA 10 Jimmy Johnson auto that says 7-time champ on it, and I just didn't pull the trigger because I didn't think the guy was gonna take like I was gonna offer him $700. I think he ended up taking 500,
Oh.
and I just to my day kicked myself in the butt, going, why didn't you just offer it? He would have taken it.
Hey, that's a big chunk of cash. That's a big chunk of cash. But that is an epic card. Yeah, something about those seven timers, man. It's hard to say no sometimes. It's definitely hard to say no.
Yeah. You got it? Do we got anything else for Ray? I don't know if we got anything else.
Um, well, I mean, realistically, I think we kind of hit everything in one shot. To be honest, which is awesome. Yeah, I guess Ray, what do you have any questions for either of us?
Yeah, more so because I talked to Noah a bit at the card show, and I do have a few questions for him, but just questions about yourself, Jordan,
Sure.
because I know it was interesting um, finding you, because Noah referred me to the group you have on Facebook, but I actually followed you a bit. I followed the group, the JW Breaks group, I think a few months before Noah recommended to me, just
Awesome.
because I was just
Cool.
looking through it. I've been meaning to break with you, but my question for you is, what geared you to start breaking, especially NASCAR, knowing that compared to other sports, it's far less popular. But like, what drove you to do it? What drove you to start breaking?
It's a great question. I rarely get asked this. I actually did a very small amount of breaking in 19, well, late 18, 19. I was in the Facebook group that I was in got shut down. It just got deleted from Facebook. Facebook just deleted it. It had like 9,600 people in it. I did nothing to grow that group. I was just asked to come in and help run it because I had previously, the guy I knew was through the Mopar community from the car clubs, and he was out of New Mexico. He was heavy into baseball. Huge. I mean, this baseball group would fill a break in 10, 20 minutes. Done. I mean, it was absurd. So I knew him through the Mopar car club community, and I was always doing social media and video recording, all the stuff. So he knew I could handle that side of it. So he asked me to join the group and just kind of help mod. And then he got sick. He's like, "Hey man, I have a bunch of product I need to break. I'm going to send it to you if you're okay doing the breaks." I said, "Sure, yeah, send it down." So we were doing breaks. I didn't know if I would like it, didn't know if I'd be any good at it, but I loved it. I always wanted to be on radio as a kid. Shocking, I know, since we're here talking on a podcast. But I've always liked the broadcasting and the producing and the before and after. I like doing all that stuff. That's really just a full hobby in itself for me. And then I was able to incorporate sports cards, and that just made it even more fun. So that group died in, I think it got deleted like mid 2020, like maybe like August or so of 2020. Facebook deleted the group. He got all the admin. I was just a mod, but all the admins got some notifications that said your group has been removed for violating community standards. Never got told what it was. We didn't run razzes. We didn't do anything. It was literally breaks and just buying and selling. That's all it was. So we got picked. We got deleted, and then I was without a place to do anything. And since I was helping Brett out, I hadn't really created like my quote brand or like my name. Like nobody, I mean, they knew who I was, right? Oh, Jordan's live, here's the break. But they all knew it was like his stuff. Like that's who I was doing it for. So I was kind of without a home. I didn't really have another group to just hop right into. I was part of groups, but I didn't know anybody good enough to be like, oh, hey, this group got shut down. Can I come break for you? Didn't really have that. And I had been in NASCAR at that point for about 2 years. I got real heavy into it, like the beginning of 19. Just really, I was like, man, this is these, like you. I like the swatches, the cuts, the autos. Always been a racing fan. I loved Indy. Dabbled very, very little. I knew what Formula One was, never really got into it per se because I didn't really know how to watch it or when to watch it. But I always loved racing, every form. NHRA, straight line, always been a part of it, race myself, etc. And then I was like, you know what, this is cool. And I'm like, man, there really isn't a NASCAR. There isn't a ton of breaks out. Like I looked on YouTube, looked on eBay, found a couple.
Yeah, man.
It's just it was so far and few between. And during COVID, everybody was focused on football, basketball, and that was about it. I mean, that was everybody was obsessed. It was a true upset. Baseball, football, basketball, stick and ball, the whole thing. And then I found the Nuts group, and I messaged one of the admins like, hey, I'm looking to maybe do some like rip and ship stuff. Would it be okay if I went live like once a week? And they let me go live on Wednesdays. And we started off, you had 2 viewers, 1 or 2 viewers, for like 4 or 5 hours. And then next week we had like 4, then we had like 10, then we had like 15. So over like 4 or 5 month period, it was awesome. But then they made me stop because they didn't want me to keep going live on the page. I guess people were complaining about bugging up the feed or whatever. So that was fine. And then I got an invite to the JW Sports Car group with 13 members in it. I was the 13th or 14th member, I believe. And Josh said, come on over. It's a newer group, brand new, buy, sell, trade. I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, would you mind if I try doing ribbon ships in here? I'm looking for a new home. And he had been doing some single box breaks and some small baseball stuff and really just getting the ground set. And he brought me in, and we just started gelling, man. Started posting the breaks, sharing it to groups, letting people know we were doing them. And I just went balls to the wall and started doing case breaks. Everybody was doing like 2 boxes, single boxes, 4 boxes. I was like, you know what? Let's just go for it. And we just started ripping case after case after case after case. And here we are with almost 900 members, and we're doing about 4 breaks a week. And it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to do it. And we've pulled some absolute bangers. We've had some absolute goose egg breaks, but I enjoy it. And since I have all my other My other company stuff and the other work I do is kind of on cruise control right now. I can invest some extra time into it, and it's just been a blast. And I love it. When I pull a banger for somebody, it just makes my day. If it's a PC banger, it just, you get that. It's just a great feeling. I needed that for a rainbow. It's the best message I could get. It's really just great. And without breaking, I know there's a lot of people that are against it still, but without breaking, a lot of the product wouldn't get opened. And a lot of these cards that we've seen sell or be posted would not exist. It's just how it is. So that's kind of the long answer to a short question, but that is the front to back. And it's, we're live like 4 or 5 nights a week now, and we're just having fun. And we have a great group of people. So if you are looking for a group and you're listening, JW Sports Cards and Breaks on Facebook, you come find us, pick your driver, the whole 9 yards. So that's that.
Oh yeah, then I appreciate you going to depth, because I think it mirrors what some people have when it comes to getting to a hobby or into a passion. How it just kind of becomes a Pandora's box you open, and you just kind of fall right into it. But I know you guys are primarily on Facebook, and I'm not sure if you can reveal this, but do you guys know if at any point you're going to try to branch off to, I don't know, like Whatnot, or I know Fanatics is going to have their own, I think their service is already live. I know Loop is a thing, because your group pulled the 1 of 1 junior gold vinyl, right?
I've pulled 3
Is that
this
you
year.
guys?
Yeah, we've pulled 3 junior gold
3?
vinyls this year, dude. Between Chronicles and Prism. And the crazy part is I've pulled 4 junior 1 of 1 autos, 2 from Chronicles, or no, 3 from Chronicles and 1 from Prism. And one guy hit 2 of the Chronicles. He hit it was the Phoenix Gold vinyl, and then the not Titan. What was the other one? I think it was Titan. Either way, he hit 2 of those on person. He just grabbed a box on a rip and ship night, and boom, back to, it was like 6 months apart. He went one for 1 and 2 for 2. And then Patrick Tongle hit the other 2 gold vinyls out of the other boxes. And so 2 guys have pulled 4 of them this year. It's been absolutely nutty. But to answer your question, I have been on Whatnot since the beginning, before they even had a motorsport channel or any racing channels. The problem I had is Whatnot really could not have given a rat's ass about us. That was the biggest issue. Is when I signed up, I did the whole thing, got approved. I had to show they had to join the Facebook group and see what we're doing and make sure we're legit. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm running 4, 5, 6 breaks a week. Like, this would be awesome. And once I got my seller approval, they were like, oh yeah, we'll add the group. And it was like a year and a half until we got a motorsport, like even tab. And most of that was F1, and we were getting drowned out. And
wow.
Yeah, it was nutty, man. And then all of a sudden, everybody and their mother got approved to sell, and if you have a pulse and a phone, you're approved. So it just kind of made it not as attractive to just, spend all that time and energy on.
And it's interesting you say that, because I know I actually thought about of doing breaks for NASCAR, and just kind of, just so I could get more involved in the community, see who's in the community. And I remember applying to be a Whatnot seller and just never going through with it, just because I was like, I don't really have the time. I get, I work in downtown LA, so I don't get home till
you got traffic
till 6:37, and I'm just tired. I'm like, I have a lot of energy, but to do breaks after, I was like, nah. So then I kind of left my application, and I still get texts to this day, Whatnot, just their representatives bugging me, because they're like, we need more motorsport breakers, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, if you didn't drive people like Jordan away, maybe you guys would have had more motorsport breakers, but you guys are just looking at the money now. So that's why they're desperate now. So,
and that's the thing too, is, I can't do my same big breaks on there without having to charge more, right? Because of the fees. So for me, on our Facebook group, it's free shipping. We do not charge for shipping. You don't ever have to pay, ever. Shipping is included whether you get $1 driver or you buy half the checklist, right? Shipping's included. There's no tax. Obviously there's no buyer seller fees that I have to worry about. So it's a good 15% cheaper or more for me to run breaks the way we've been doing it. And I was like, I really don't want to have to charge more. It makes no sense for the same cards coming out of the box, right? And that was the issue I had. I was like, this just doesn't make sense. And I talked to him. I said, hey, listen, this isn't Prism NT or Prism Football or NT Football where they've got XYZ margins in it. It's not. So they oh yeah, we'll take it into account. They don't care. They just want their cut and move on. And I think the more people that get on there is good at this point. I mean, there's already so many. The more people on there, you get more involved. You network. I know all the guys on there. I know who they are. They know me. A lot of them are in the Facebook group. I hop on when I can. I'm just, with everything I got going on, I really don't have a ton of time when they're on. I'm usually live too. So it's the platform could be so much better if they just took a little bit of the fees away. Just so we don't. I just hate it overcharge. I just hated it. I was like, hey, it has to sell for this, otherwise, then I lose the money on the box. I'm like, I'll break even all day. I don't care. That's fine. But losing cash to open a box, that just doesn't make any sense. So it was more of just a personal choice. And I have applied with Fanatics Live. I was one of the first people to apply when the app became on. And then I talked to them at the National, and basically what I was told is unless you're a big guy on Whatnot, or you have 500,000 followers on Instagram or more, you're going to have to wait a year to 2 years to even get put in the queue to be reviewed. So I've kind of given up on that. And I was really hoping Fanatics Live would be a little more open to adding the smaller fish in the sea, especially from the racing, right? Like there isn't 1,000 of us out here. There's maybe a dozen that would probably hop on there. And their selling side is pretty reasonable. I like the way Fanatics set up the app. I think it's really awesome. But all they're doing is pumping the same big guys that are running the same big breaks on the same platforms. Yep. And, it's like, do I want to invest my time to try and get to that level? Absolutely. But I'm not going to stress myself out to get there.
Yeah, you're not gonna break your back and have to brown nose people.
Hell
Networking
no.
is a thing, but I'll use that to segue to my next question for both of you. Those kind of for both you guys, as we are now going to see, and I know this doesn't necessarily have to do with NASCAR cards in particular because it's still Panini, but how do you think Fanatics is going to handle sports cards moving forward? For me, I view it as I'm just going from one monopoly to another monopoly, but the newer monopoly is just paying people that are on YouTube to be like, yeah, this is a great company. And but to Fanatics credit, they are doing cool things like what they're doing with like a player, like the rookie patches, how like all the rookies for MLB had like that crazy patch that's going to be on a 101, or every player that has like their first hit is going to have pieces of the plate put into cards, and it's gonna be like this was used at their first hit ever in MLB, whatnot. But it just seems, for me at least, it just seems like we're just passing the torch from one giant to another. So it's like you said, Jordan, if they were really serious about appealing to a bigger crowd, they would see somebody, of your stature and be like, hey, it's not a group that we're really looking for, but is it within the sports card hobby? Yeah. Are they passionate? Yeah. Will they be potentially customers if we think about buying the NASCAR IP? Yeah. But it just something like that gives me a vibe of same old with the companies.
Yeah. I'm gonna let Noah answer this one first because I have my answer ready, but I'm gonna let him give you his 2 cents on this first.
Well, Fanatics did not start off hot by trying to threaten to sue me, so they didn't start off on the right foot with me, to be honest. I think Fanatics is scum. I think what they do for the merchandise industry is awful. They make garbage quality jerseys. They charge an arm and a leg. Everything they do is garbage. So I do not have high hopes for Fanatics, and I'm very pessimistic on what the products are going to become. More on the front, not necessarily like I think some of the ideas they have are fun, but I just think the quality of the cards are going to go downhill so fast like with printing issues and that stuff, because for the amount of times I see jerseys get messed up for them, I have low hopes. And then another thing that drives me insane is I'm sure you guys probably saw it because it got posted by every single person today that the new Topps product has an Otani Babe Ruth dual auto 1 of 1 with a cut.
Yep.
It got posted by literally every single influencer possible on Twitter and Instagram in the hobby. And I know that it's not, and I know it's not them just being, oh, I think this is cool information. I'm gonna post it. Yeah, because literally every account did. So it's pretty obvious that Fanatics is paying them to promote their product. Like it's not a secret. Everybody like within 20 to 30 minutes of each other posted it. Like it's not. It's obvious. So I think Fanatics, they could have done the right thing. I mean, even taking out my personal feelings aside with what happened to me, I have very low hopes for Fanatics. While they do have a few fun ideas, like I really do like their their debut patches for the jerseys. That'll be a fun chase. So there are some glimmers of hope, but I think they're going to kind of get suffocated over the next few years.
I dig it, and I respect that 100%. So here's my take. I think Fanatics Topps merger has created an opportunity for absolute greatness or absolute failure. I don't think there's going to be any in between. I kind of view it as they kind of starting to look like Microsoft, right? Every computer's got Microsoft except for a handful. Well, pretty soon they're going to have everything probably under their belt. And like Noah said, is the quality going to go away? Is the quality going to go up? Is there going to be junk wax level production? We really don't know yet. I have no clue. I have zero birdies that chirp in my ear about the Fanatics Topps stuff. I will say the product I have over from Topps this year has been pretty decent, from Formula One to baseball. I've been very pleased with it. Haven't really seen any, oh my God, what is this doing in a box situation? Nor have I had any like, oh my God, that was a bad box missing XYZ hit. But I do think Noah has a good point with the merch side. That could be a potential for just lower quality items going into cards as far as like memorabilia goes. You just, do I want sand from a game that somebody had 2 stolen bases on? I personally, I really wouldn't want that. But it's new. It's cool. We'll see how it goes. I think it opens the door for other parts of the hobby to flourish too, that they don't have full control over, which is always a good thing. It's kind of, when one part of the hobby eats, it does trickle down. It does trickle down. When UFC got super hot, like what was it, last year, I think, UFC blew up. And there was a lot of influencer help. There was a lot of YouTube help, whatnot help. But UFC got massive. I mean, the Hasbulla hunt was unbelievable. And that trickled to wrestling. And then that, I feel like, did trickle into racing because those three are kind of at that same tier level for the number of people involved with it. But that happened after some of the bigger news from Fanatics hit. So it's going to be positive. There'll be some negatives. At the end of the day, though, like I said before when I started this little rant, it's going to be absolute gold, or it's just going to turn to poo after a while. I don't think it can be a mediocre thing. And of course, pricing. That's the other unknown, is how long are they going to keep Topps Chrome boxes at $300 to $400? Once they have everything else in this corner and they're really pumping, do they go to $650, $700? I don't know. Probably not. I would hope not. But that would be where, if they do have the full control take me as a breaker out of it as a collector, I would worry about how hard it would be for me to just grab a box and open it, or be able to go buy certain cards. As a Diamondbacks fan, it's been a rough year. I've had to fight tooth and nail to get some of these cards that we wanted to put in the collection, which I love to see. But Corbin Carroll, we started buying him 2 or 3 years ago, and then it just got harder and harder over this last 12 months, and I love to see that. Am I going to sell off my Corbin stuff? Absolutely not. That is one of our main PCs we will never, ever get rid of. But I think it'll have a good trickle effect, and it'll open up some doors and probably close some others, but we just don't know enough yet, I think, to really to grasp it. And I'm sure Fanatics will build a printing facility at some point. They'll probably have to. And that, if they have full control, hey, maybe we get some different type stuff. I don't know. But I'm staying positive until it really just goes to hell. But for now, I think it's going to be interesting. And I do wish the main thing is if they do the app right and eventually let it trickle down to us small guys, it could really, really help the hobby and bring light to the other parts of the hobby that don't get, 60 different guys doing a box preview for Panini or Topps. So that's my 2 cents. Again, long-winded answer there, but it's exciting, but also we just don't know enough. We don't know enough yet. That's kind of where I stand.
No, yeah, and I think the answer that you gave kind of just resounds with the rest of the hobby. Just it's kind of like cautious wariness because yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do, but at the same time, it's from what I see, it's like what Noah pointed out, what you pointed out. There seems to be a lot of people who have somewhat of an influence in the industry, talking about them in a overwhelmingly positive light, um, but so positive to the point where it gets a little nauseous because I go, okay, well, not everybody is free from criticism, and it's really interesting to see that people did criticize Panini before, but as soon as everybody heard that the the players associations were backing out of their contracts early, it seemed like people just started letting it fly. And I'm like, would you have said that a year or two ago when you're
Right.
rubbing elbows with them? Because I don't think you would have. But it's interesting. But I guess to get to a more lighthearted question, um, how did you two you know meet and then eventually start this podcast, because it's one of the few podcasts that I thoroughly enjoy just because of how genuine you two seem, the banter that you guys have um about the hobby. And then because I can tell you right now, I met Noah because I believe he had followed me on Instagram first, and then one day I had to buy a one of one Weekend Warriors Jimmy Johnson National Treasures auto, and I get a message on
Yes,
I get
you
a message
did.
on Instagram saying, "Hey man, is this you? Do you mind me asking?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And then just started talking to Noah from there. So I want to know how you two met and just started talking.
It's a good question. I think Noah
Do you
joined
want to do it or you
the.
want me to do it?
Yo, you go ahead. You got a better memory, man. I'm getting old. You go ahead and tell the story.
Yeah, you are old. So what happened was, I was, probably starting last year. I knew the Facebook place existed. I didn't really know to the extent how much more like kind of NASCAR collectors gravitated towards Facebook because they're old. So I say that out of love, of course, but a lot of old men. But so I kind of gravitated towards Facebook, which people like me and Ray's age don't really ever use Facebook. So it was a learning
Yeah,
curve.
far and in between.
Stumbled across, yeah, stumbled across some breaking groups, and I was like, oh, like I saw Jordan was doing some. At the time was when 2022 Prism was coming out, and it was a case break. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'll buy my Bubba spot, and everything's cool. And my first break, of course, Jordan does to me. He literally gives me my best break for the first one and can't hit me anything ever. He hits me two gold Bubbas to 10 in this 22 Prism break
Damn.
and like two autos. Like I crushed this break. And so I crushed a break, kind of just start chatting with him here and there, finding the breaks, kind of just, kind of slowly kind of doing that talking thing. I would say I really got to know Jordan out at the National because I was like, oh, if you're gonna be heading out there, I know you're one of the only few NASCAR guys going out, so I'll hang out with you. So we hung out with him most of the days. It was a lot of fun. And I think that's when we kind of had that idea of, there's not that much NASCAR stuff in the hobby. I think we should maybe do something like a podcast because it'd be fun. I mean, there is one NASCAR, but I think it wasn't necessarily the content that I wanted to do. I like what they do, but it's kind of very different than what we kind of do here. So I felt we could do something, and the rest has been history. Because of this, I probably talked to Jordan a ton. I don't know if he's the person I talk to the most in cards, but I would say, actually, I probably would say yeah, just because we do this. But I talked to Jordan a ton about it. I always share with him and you the fun pickups I have because, like I said, my good friend, other friend, doesn't do NASCAR. I can share him all my baseball all day long, but NASCAR stuff is only I can only do so much. So love sharing it with you guys.
That's
Yeah,
that's
love to
pretty
hear it.
spot on, man. Yeah, we met at the National. It didn't take long And we had messaged a ton up to the show, right? Like when I made a post of, hey, who's going to the
Yeah.
national, it was a very small handful of people. And Noah has a really good Instagram that's been great to follow. So I knew, I was like, okay, this will be a good time. And then when we got there, I was like, man, one, this guy's not a dummy, and he understands the hobby. It was just great. And I honestly, I've been trying to do this podcast thing for like 2 years. Multiple people said they're in, then they couldn't do it, then they didn't have the tech or didn't want to set the time aside, because you talk for a couple hours, a couple nights a week. I mean, that's a chunk of your week, and I've been wanting to do it because sometimes there's just, you got to rant or you want to talk about, you're excited, whatever it might be, and to have that that back and forth, like you said, Noah and I, we don't agree on everything, but we also don't not agree on everything. So it gives us a chance to look at some stuff and topics more in depth, and it's just been great. It's just been fun. There's hundreds of episodes to come, so don't you guys worry. Plenty more things planned.
Yeah,
Probably
real
get
excited for that.
our cute faces on here soon too.
Yes,
We'll get a
episode
face
10.
cam going at some
Episode
point. Me and
10.
Jordan keep. Yeah, well, we got the equipment to do it. We swear. We're just we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, episode 10. Look for that. It'll be great. It'll be a super fun episode.
That'll be fun.
And I guess the next question I want to ask is, again, probably to both of you, but maybe a little more towards Noah, just because I've had the similar experience. So, bit of background: I collect sports cards. Most of my friends don't. I actually got one of my friends into it recently, and he was actually at the Burbank show last time I went.
Mhm.
I had him pick up some Brewer cards. He's a huge Brewer fan. But how do people receive you guys when you say you watch or collect NASCAR? Because for me, I'm 24 years old. I'm from LA. I was originally born in East Los Angeles, so in LA. A Mexican guy, so I don't know many Mexicans watching NASCAR other than people who now watch Daniel Suarez, and they're
Mi
like,
amigo.
yeah, so Suarez and his amigos. So
Yeah.
I know, I know it's real unique, because anytime I tell somebody that, they just give me a look and go, dude, you watch NASCAR? Like, who the hell watches that? And then I'm like, oh, I don't just watch it, man. I buy cards. I spend hundreds of dollars on it. I love it, and I've just gotten so immersed to it. So how do you guys? I know you guys talked about a bit about it when you guys had your episode talking about how NASCAR at shows, but just like, how is it a day to day other than outside of the hobby?
I'll take this one, Jordan, to lead off.
Hit it.
This was a great segue for me. So if I like describing myself to people the best I could, you would say I'm probably the farthest possible person from the NASCAR demographic. 22 years old. I went to a top 5 most liberal not community college, top 5 most liberal arts like college in the nation in Portland, Oregon. So if you get, that's about as far away as you can get from Southern NASCAR as you possibly can get. But I got started from my grandpa who watched it. He's from Iowa, so that's a lot closer to the demographic of NASCAR. So he got into it, and of course, whenever my grandpa would watch, I would get into it. Got into the stats. So I've always been into it from a young age, and it's kind of something that I kind of realize I'm the odd man out in it. So I kind of take that as like I take it into my personality. Like when people know me, they kind of know that I like NASCAR. Like it's kind of like part of my personality. I kind of made it into. Because especially like Northern California, we have Sonoma, so it's not. I mean, it's still Ray. You understand? It's the California, and Jordan, you're in Arizona, so it's that West Coast. Like NASCAR is not a West Coast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's it's like you just gotta explain it to people, and I've never been somebody to try to convert people because ultimately, like, I really don't think that other people really get it, which is fine. Like this is my thing. There's a lot of other things people do that I don't necessarily get, but I don't have any problems when they're doing it. So I explain it. I tell people, hey, if you want to go to a race with me, sounds good. I'm not going to push it on you, but that's just something I like to do. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been able to at least I have I mean, it's also a little bit easier considering I played college sports, so like it's like at least it's like something sporty. I mean, it's not watching basketball or football, but like at least it is something sports related, so like I wouldn't get as hard of a time for it. But yeah, I'm basically the opposite demographic that you possibly could get. But yeah, it's a fun personality for me. I know Jordan's going to be very different from me per se, but that's my little spin on it.
No, I'm not too far off. I mean, my boys are still like, you do what? I'm like, yeah, cardboard, baby. It's got ink on it and some cool patches. They're like, uh-huh. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's you don't get it until you're in it, but once you're in, man, you can't walk away. It's really
Yeah.
just a great it's really a true hobby. Like I just enjoy it. And those same guys, they got their hobbies. One boy, Zach, he collects cigars. It's that is his collector. I said, man, it's like
Hmm.
your tobacco is my cardboard. It's back and forth. That's exactly what we do. So the only difference is, most of my cardboard doesn't cost like $12,000 for 10 little cigars. So it's it's a different thing, but they understand the collecting side, and they like the racing stuff. They're mostly straight line NHRA guys, but they appreciate NASCAR, right? They're just not they're not involved with all the drivers on social media. And if that's here, I'm gonna sidebar real quick for those listening. If you don't follow your favorite drivers on Instagram and Twitter or X, whatever it is now, I highly recommend.
It's Twitter. Don't call it X.
Right. So on the social media platforms, Facebook, all of it, go find your driver, like their page, or hit the follow button because they post behind the scenes stuff. They post pre-race, post-race, post-quali, post-practice, new sponsor stuff. Interacting with them is a hoot. And sometimes, I would say more than often than not, you get a liked comment or you'll get a response. I've had dozens of people respond. Shout out Zachary Tinkle, never leaves me hanging. That man is the absolute goat. But if you don't follow your guys
Oh
on social
God,
media,
not this again.
it'll really enhance the hobby even more for you. You get to know these guys off of the track. So, anywho, yeah, there's not a lot of NASCAR here, even though we have 2 races a year, and the damn championship, literally the season finishes here. I don't see tons of wax. Actually, while the boys were in town this weekend, we went to the one local shop that's within an hour of my house. They had 1 box of NT, 2 21 Prism Blasters, and about 8 loose packs of 23 Donners. That was it. And that's probably the most I've seen there in a year. So the product doesn't sit on shelves out here. It doesn't even go to retail very much. The retail lady in town actually just calls me and says, hey, I got this. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah, I'll pick it up. Doesn't even make it to the shelves because she knows it's just going to sit there unless I go find it. So it's for me, the card show stuff. Well, we actually have our big Arizona show this weekend at the convention center. It's kind of like your Burbank. This is going to be our big 3-day. We got trade nights this year. We got signers. It's going to be a really good time. I'm bringing a sign that I'm going to attach to my backpack. I have one of those, I
Let's go.
off the record, I definitely
Let's go.
didn't take a yard sign from a political affiliate and take the metal piece out of it. But I'm going to make a sign that says, I'm buying NASCAR. And on the other side, please show me your NASCAR cards. And I'm just going to walk around with that on the top over my head and see who flags me down. And hopefully I can find
Let's
some
go.
gems. I'm gonna film it. We're gonna do a little vlogging there. It's gonna be something a little new and different. But yeah, a lot of people say, you do what? I'm like, yeah, man, I break NASCAR. I break NASCAR trading cards. They're like, what is that? I'm like, well, it's a big cardboard box that has other cardboard boxes in it with packs of foil that has cardboard cards in it with ink and cool stuff on it of the drivers. And we open them up and then I ship them to people. They buy those? I'm like, yeah, they buy a lot of them, and I buy a lot of them. And they can't wrap their head around it. But if I told them, oh yeah, I do football cards. Oh, who's your team? Who's your favorite? I love this team. It's a whole different conversation. It really is. So one day I'll run into somebody who's like, what do you collect? Oh, NASCAR. Dude, me too. And it's going to be awesome.
You run into Noah.
Yeah,
You run into
exactly, yeah.
Noah and meet him at the
Yeah,
meet him at the
basically.
Burbank show.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
with that, a little tidbit here, Noah and I are going to start working on, actually this month, for the 2024 National, we are going to do our best to set up some sort of official, unofficial NASCAR trading card night. If we do it soon enough and we get the word out across Facebook, Instagram, Discords, the Twitter, all that good stuff, maybe get some of the other guys to help us share it that do have some bigger influence. Hopefully we can gather a good group of people that don't even know we all exist together. And then the community grows, we can get some more people involved, and more cards start surfacing, etc. So that is something we're going to try and do on our end to help boost things, so that you can run into more people that collect, because that's always a great day. When somebody says, oh yeah, let me show you this. It's never happened to me. Noah, you're excluded.
Yeah, like you should probably reach out to somebody I know that was I think he was the second person I met that collected NASCAR cards. I'm really good friends with Justin Channels, co-owner of the California Roadshow shop
Love those
in
boys.
Sonoma.
Yeah.
Justin is a real him and his brother Ryan are
They're
coolest
awesome.
guys, and it was really cool bonding
Love those guys.
with Justin, talking NASCAR. I remember the first time I met him was actually at the last year's Ontario Burbank Card Show. That was the first time I had met him in person. Me and him just click a lot. He's a Raider fan. I'm a Raider fan. He's the only other guy that collects NASCAR that I know other than you and Noah. So for me and him, I know he's a huge Denny Hamlin fan. So, and I know that's something he tries pushing to any chance he gets. So, and I know the Roadshow family does go to the National every year. So, I know for a fact Justin has some heat. I mean, I saw him post that 1972 Petty the other day, and I was like, wow.
Yes,
I was
sir.
so happy for when he posted that, because I met Justin and Ryan came waltzing up to us. So this is going back to the National. We were 10th in line.
Yeah, what a story, Ray. You're gonna love this.
So this was probably, other than meeting Noah, this was the highlight of the trip. Okay.
Not Renee buying cards off of you.
No, that's the story I'm about to tell. That's exactly it. So
okay, fair enough.
No.
I thought you were going past that. I didn't know you were gonna touch on that too. My fault.
No, so other than getting to meet Noah at the National, this was the next big highlight. So trade night, the official Roadshow trade night, we were like, you know what? Our feet are done. Let's just go figure out where this is at and see how it works. Well, they had a line set up. Didn't know there'd be a line. Long story short, we get in line. We're like 10th in line. We're talking to these guys that do like gold bullion and silver sales and stuff on Whatnot. Just hilarious guys. And then all of a sudden, here comes Renee from Storage Wars and plops right down with him. And yeah, bro. They're like, yeah. And the whole time, like, yeah, Renee's going to pop up. We need to save a chair for Renee. And we're thinking, okay, cool. Yeah, Renee can come hang out with us. Let's do it. Yeah, save a seat. No problem. Didn't know it was Renee from Storage Wars. And here he comes with his case and his backpack and his wife. And they have a bag of snacks. And they just plop down. And it's just, boom, they're part of the hobby. And he's like, what do you got in your case? So we all start handing our cases over. And he starts going through it. He's like, how much for this? How much for that? Well, you take this, you take 20, you take 40. And he would just buy cars to sell on his show left. And he probably brought like, what, $300-400 worth of cards randomly from a few of the guys.
Yeah.
And we got to talk to him about the show.
And he got mad that we all had NASCAR.
Yeah, he's like, what is this NASCAR? Who is this? And his accent, it just made it was so great. One of the nicest dudes. Him and his wife, they are some of the nicest people ever. You would never know.
Yeah, they were great.
That they're on a national TV show and that they're huge in the breaking. And but very, very nice people. And so we're sitting there and we're like, all right, cool. What's our game plan? Let's get in there, get a table. So we get in, we get one of the tables, and within 5 minutes, Justin and Ryan come flying up to us. Like, is that NASCAR? Is that racing? We're like, yeah. So I open up my other case and pull it on. They probably spent an hour and a half or so, probably at least an hour at us with the table, looking through cards.
At least an hour.
If not more. It was awesome. Talking to them.
Yeah.
I didn't know who they were. I had no clue what the Cali Roadshow was at any point. They just came up and they're racing fans. Very unique experience. And they sat and looked through my bin, Noah's bin, Josh's bin, my other bin. They looked through Caleb's stack. They looked through the Dollar Box General. They looked through everybody's stuff. And they were like, wow, holy crap. And I pulled out my 101s and my dual autos and the Petty Earnhardt and all this stuff. And they were like, they was just giving us props. I'm like, yeah, this is what we do. He's like, that's awesome. So then we went and found him at the booth, and we started chatting and this and that, and we talked about the Petty, and I ended up buying a Pete Weber Goodwin Champions auto off of him for my brother. Who do you think you are? I am, that man. So just super good dudes. If you want to talk about good people in the hobby, Justin and
Yeah, the
Ryan
Channel
are
brothers.
they are at the top. There is very few that I think could compare. So yeah, I would love to. I'm sure Noah, we can reach out and talk to them. Maybe they have some ideas to pass
Yeah,
along,
I
and
wanted.
it'd be great.
Yeah, I can reach out to him. I'll reach out to him at some point to talk about it.
Super
I just got
good.
to find a time for it. I'm sure he would totally be down. So I know he. I need to ask him to come on at some point too,
Oh, I'd
because I
love
want
to
to get
talk to
his
them.
perspective of having a store, especially because it's so close to Sonoma. I want to get that perspective on at some
Yeah,
point. But yeah,
yeah,
that's something I'll look into.
yeah. Good dudes. Will love to have them on. They're just good people, without a doubt. So, and when I asked, him, I was like, "So what are you looking for?" He's like, "I need a 1972 Richard Petty." I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy's amazing. He's going right. He's going right for the jugular."
Yeah,
So
man.
it's nutty.
No,
Yeah,
yes, it's been interesting. The people meeting in the hobby. I know that like the highlight for me at the Burbank show was meeting Noah in person for the first time, talking to him. I just really liked connecting with somebody who's talking about NASCAR, somebody my age who does collect, around my age who does collect too. But I feel like we're same temperament when it comes to collecting. We're not like dudes our age or like they're the hype beasts that don't like being hype beasts anymore, so they do cards now. And yeah, just that was nice meeting or getting to see Justin and Justin again. I think his brother Ryan was at a honeymoon, so I met Michael, the guy who does breaking for them. He
Yep.
was super great meeting him. Really nice guys. It was funny that you guys mentioned that you guys had that interaction at the national, because I had something similar with Justin and a few other people, because I know Justin first for being a Derek Carr collector, because
Yeah,
we're
huge.
big Raider fans. So the people I follow that are Raider, the Raider PCs, we all follow one another. So one of them is based in SoCal, as well. His name is Cisco Cards. He's big on like Charles Woodson and defense. And I remember I was standing at the booth. I was talking to Justin. This guy comes up to him and he says, "Hey, Justin, nice to see you in person, man. Blah blah. Meet you." And then I turn around and I look at him and I'm like, oh, so he knows him from somewhere. And then Justin looks at me and he goes, "Oh, trust me, man. You know who this is." And I'm like, "Really? Like I will?" And then he's like, "Wait, is your name Ray?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, you know my name, man." And he was like, "Oh, you'll recognize who I am." He opens his case up and he's got three cracked ice Derek Carr rookie autos,
Choo.
contender autos. And I go, "You're DC4_MVP on Instagram, aren't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, see, I knew you know who I am." So we start talking, and this is all by sheer coincidence, man. As we're all talking, shooting the shit, talking, having a good time, this guy behind us goes, "Yeah, the Raiders suck." And so we all turn around and look, and it's my buddy Cisco that I recognize. And I'm like, "Oh, do you guys know who this is?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "You guys know who he is. You guys follow him. I know for a fact you guys follow him." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Cisco Cards." So that was just one of the weirdest, coolest
uh,
experiences I've ever had at a show.
I love that. That's what it's all about, though. They say the friends you make in the hobby are the ones you know the longest, even though you've known them the shortest, because you all have that same. You just all. I mean, it's the whole collecting thing. That just is what it is. Makes it great. That's awesome. That's a beautiful. I really wish I could have got to that show. Missing Burbank was not a great day. But duty calls at the house. You guys, it's just you can't get out. You can't get out. But I really did want to go. But I will not miss next year. Next year I will for sure be there. I'm just gonna fly out for it. Whenever the February stuff comes out, I'm gonna grab a ticket and I'll be out there. So that you can count on. I
God, you're
will.
making me. You're making me try to go now. I didn't plan to go, but now you two are going. I'm
Well,
like,
that's too
damn.
damn bad. You better get
I'm
there.
I'm for sure going. I'm for sure going. You know,
Uh,
to be honest, Noah, the highlight of hanging out there was just kind of hanging out with you, because, yeah, I was there with my girlfriend, but my girlfriend's not too big into cards. She's more just there because she wants to hang out with me.
Right.
My buddy was there, but he's got more of a
yeah.
a basic understanding of cards, so I'm more there, like educating him, telling him how different sets work. Um, what sets are popular, which aren't, why certain cards are priced at this, and that. So that was more educating. But I think I had probably the best time when I was either hanging out with you or hanging out with Justin and Mike at the Cali Road Show. It was just super super cool. And again, it's nice to meet people who are very genuine, because something I struggle with being in SoCal is some of the guys, they're fair weather. They're the master negotiators. I've had my fair share of going to a show and being offered $300 cash and a Drew Lock RPA for a John Morant rookie auto at his height. So yeah, I have enough. So it's nice to meet you guys and to talk to you guys who
Yeah, man, it's been great.
should share the interest.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I was fortunate enough to meet with the Panini people at the National, the booth. And I had 67 redemptions sitting, all racing, 100%. Well, I'm sorry, that's a lie. I had one baseball redemption from 2019 Prism Draft. Okay, so 66 racing redemptions. Large chunk of those are Haley Deegan NT autos, a handful of Ty Gibbs, and a couple Chase Elliott's. But the rest are like Torque certified, NT, other drivers. A ton of Bubba Wallace. You would have thought it's Noah's profile for Panini with how many Bubbas I had sitting in there. And
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was ridiculous. So like, if I keep a driver in a break, like if I keep 2 or 3 drivers to close a break, I hate that it happens, but I typically hit. I don't know why. It's random, but I ended up keeping. What?
It's the same as don't leave the last box on the shelf.
Correct. Yeah.
Like
exactly.
I know, I showed you that. I showed you those Bowman U boxes. Those are the last 2 boxes on the shelf when I pull that stuff. Like,
exactly.
Never leave the last stuff there.
So if there's like 3 or 4 drivers left, you know what? Why drag it? I'll keep them and let's break, and everybody's all cool with that. But I ended up keeping Bubba in like 6 straight breaks. I hit a Jumbo Ford performance patch. I hit like 4 redemptions. Just crazy stuff. So I met with Panini. I was like, listen, most of this stuff's been sitting in here for like 2 years. I know you ain't got the Torque stuff. I know you definitely don't have some of this Donruss stuff. So can we trade all but my Haley, Gibbs, and Chase stuff for whatever you can give me? And she's like, absolutely. So she walked back into the thing, came out. She gave me 3 black boxes. And obviously there's no racing in them. It's all football, basketball. And like you said,
there's a little baseball.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't get any of that, but I got
a hair, but you didn't get the baseball. No.
I had really good boxes. Very happy with them. But like you said, somebody, I'm the master negotiator. I'll offer you this, this, and this trash for your gold gem.
Yeah.
Right? So as soon as I say, hey, I'm looking for NASCAR today, the last few shows I've been to or whatever, they're like, oh, I don't have any racing. I was like, damn, because I got these black boxes. Oh, I'll give you, blah, 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 40, 30% of comp for that. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not an idiot. Just because I do racing doesn't mean I'm not aware of what's sitting in my box. And then they get all huffy puffy because they're like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, if you want to buy it, And I said, if you had NASCAR or F1, buddy, I'd be trading so heavy in your favor. You'd be like, this is great. But you don't have any because you probably either hawked it on eBay or threw it in a shoebox and forgot you had it. So shame on you. But yeah, I hate that. It's like, once they know you have something they want, they'll instantly try to just give you garbage. It's like, buddy, no, I'm not just going to take your random stuff you don't want so you can have the one card you want and not have to pay for it. That's not how this works. I have no problem waiting for the right buyer. So I get that. It does happen, especially out here because there just isn't racing. The big convention show last year was in August here in Phoenix. There was 2 Haley Deegan slabs, and I shit you not, the night before I bought it was a PSA 10 2020 Prism cracked ice variation or non-variation rookie to 25 non-auto, and I think it closed at like $58, so it was like 65 with shipping and tax, or 68 with just call it $70. He had it priced at $375, and I said, hey man, I wouldn't mind picking this up because it's a door number. At the time, it was 4 of 25 PSA 10. I was like, I literally bought this one last night for this. I'll give you $100 for it. And he said, are you kidding me? Absolutely not. I'm like, okay, no problem. And then I circled back around. And then the third day of the show, we were there. I went back and said, "Hey, you ready to make a deal on that?" Hey, he's like, "I sold it." I'm like, "What'd you sell it for?" $125. I said, "Did you really sell it?" He's like, "Yep, sold it yesterday." I'm like, "All right, cool." So we go back, and Amanda, my girl, she actually went to look through some boxes, happened to go back to that table, and guess what was sitting in the box? The Haley Deegan marked at $325. There it was. It never fails, bro. It's just everybody's got a story. It's like, can we just make a deal? It's not that hard. But yeah, there's a lot of weirdos. There's a lot of awkward conversations that nobody really wants to have.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. I've had a few, and I think being in SoCal because there's a bigger pool. Yeah, I've had my fair shares of like. This is why I for me at least it was so hard in the beginning to make friends in the hobby, just because of the conversations I have with people. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not don't really agree with that, or don't.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
good
just
on
here to
that
collect
deal.
cards, man.
I'm good. I'm good. Have a
Yeah.
nice day. What do you mean you won't sell me that Mahomes gold to 10 for $40? How dare you? Okay, have a good day, bud. Go cry in
Yeah.
the corner.
I had a dude. I had a dude get mad at me at the second or third show I ever went to. He was pissed that I wouldn't make a deal over $50, and he like put all his stuff down. He like gets in my face and he's like, "You're not gonna make a deal over $50?" I'm like, "You're not gonna make a deal over $50? Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm chilling, man. I'm not stressing to sell this. You're getting worked up for no reason. So, I mean, it's on you. But yeah, I've had my fair share of very interesting interactions here in SoCal.
I'm preparing for this weekend because I am bringing some of our duplicate Corbin Carroll stuff. Because I
good
did
luck,
buy
man.
I bought a ton of big lots like like a week before his debut. So I have a really good friend, Paul, who's been in our group for a while. He's actually the clubby for the Reno Aces. Okay, our minor league team. And I knew what was going on throughout we always know what's going on throughout the season about a week before it happens, right? So who's getting called up, who's getting sent down, who's rehabbing, who do we trade, who do we release, the whole thing. So I knew about a week before they announced Corbin was going to make his debut last August on the 22nd. And so we went and bought tickets. We got everything because the minute they announced it, tickets sold out. There were no tickets left for that game. And we had really, really good seats. But we were at the card show. The card show was the weekend before, and they announced it on Monday for the Wednesday game. So we ended up going, and I ended up buying I think it was like a 60 card lot of Corbin and Tommy Henry. It was a bunch of 2019 Bowman draft, which is a really good crop for us. Dre Jameson, really good. All first Bowman paper, chrome. Had a couple refractors, which at the time were going for like $15. Now a PSA 10 Corbin refractor is like $200. So you do the math. And I got this like 60 card lot. About 45 of them were Corbins, which is why I bought it. Didn't want to split it. So I said, screw it. I like Tommy. I think Dre's going to be good. They also both came up and pitched for a bit last year. But I bought that lot, and I've slabbed a bunch of them. So I've got 10, 15 of each. And those are what I'm going to be bringing to the show to hopefully, if I find that guy with racing, take that $3 card that has, a $15 slab on it, a slab fee, and try and trade as much as I can to get as much racing product if I can find it. So that's my plan. But it's only duplicates. I'm not bringing the one-of-ones. I'm not bringing the autos. I'm not bringing the big boy stuff. That's all staying here on the shelf. That will never leave. It will never go away. Those Corbins are staying right here. So I'm excited. I feel like I know a little bit more, having gone to the National, how to really try and make these deals now in person at the show. So I am excited, but I know there's going to be some weird convos. Like, I'll give you this. I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to give you this for 60% of comp so you can go sell it for 100%. I'm just not going to do it. If you want it, cool, let's trade and we'll make a deal. But I'm not going to just give it to you. I have no problem having 40 Corbin Carroll first Bowmans sitting in my shoebox. Like I have no problem with that. So it'll be curious to see what happens. I'm going to be recording while I'm there, so you guys will get to see a little bit of the ins and outs, and hopefully we can try and work some deals. So Little background on me too, Ray. Just so I went to school to fix cars, and hated it. I just killed that passion and hobby for me. So I ended up selling cars when I moved here to Arizona. I quit my job and moved here within a week, and I didn't have a job,
Oh, wow.
so I just started selling cars out here, and I did that for up until 2019, and then I did some mortgage stuff and whatnot. So I've been in sales. It's all I've dealt with people from highs, lows, in betweens, weird, not weird, you name it. So I'm excited to get in the nitty gritty this week with some stuff I know people want, and maybe just have a little bit of fun. So hopefully we'll catch some good stuff, some interactions that you guys enjoy, and maybe you get a kick out of it. So that's my goal this weekend. I think just have some fun with it, and if we make a deal, even better.
Yeah, that's what the hobby's all about.
Amen. Amen. You got any other burning questions for us?
Not right now. Maybe sometime if you guys do ever have me back, or if I just DM you guys, I'd be like, man, I should ask this question. But no, pretty much got my fill. I'm sure once later on when I'm about to go to bed, I'll be like, oh man, I should ask that question.
That's how it always goes. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, you'll definitely be back on. That I can say with full certainty. So that you don't need to worry about. Noah, you've been kind of hanging out here. I know I've been rambling a lot, but you got anything else to wrap up with here?
I don't. I just, like I said, I try not to talk over people, so I let you ramble because that's what you love doing.
I do like rambling. I'm the rambling man.
Maybe before we go, if maybe each of us wanted to share maybe a fun card we picked up on eBay. I don't know, that'd be fun.
Ooh,
I like
that
to do that
works.
every once in a while.
Yeah.
Let people know what you were picking up. If there's maybe a few things you want to share, just what are you guys buying?
What'd you find this week, Ray?
I posted it actually earlier this week. I picked up let me see what year, just so I'm accurate with it. Picked up on 5 days ago, so I picked up a 2021 NASCAR National Treasures Richard Petty and Jimmy Johnson dual auto out of 10.
Oh, beautiful. Nice.
Good card.
Can I ask what you got it for? Can you give me a range? You don't have to get specific. I'm just curious what that went for.
No. I can give you a specific price. So I say this with everything. My advice to people out there trying to buy NASCAR cards and especially get into it, because this is also harkens back to what Noah said previously on the podcast. Never, ever, ever let a NASCAR card go to auction. You will always get a steal for it, especially because if it ends at a weird time.
True.
So that's why I love buying NASCAR cards from like DC Sports 87 or like ComC, because it's consignment company. You're always going to get a steal. Unfortunately, that person can't take that sell back. But I paid I paid $250 for it.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great pickup. I like that. Wow, that's a really good deal. Congrats on that one. That's two goats on a card, man. That is a beauty. That is a beauty. Congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Noah, what'd you get this week?
I have you two know I have a big purchase. I'll talk about the next episode. I'll save that for that. So my fun little small purchase I made was a 2018 Prism Carl Edwards Gold Prism.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Gold.
So nice little Cousin Carl Gold Cousin Carl number to 10. I picked that up for $10 on eBay.
Oh, wow, great deal.
So that was a fun.
Great deal.
Yeah. So like I said, I always pick up those golds. This one kind of had a bum corner on the back, so I can't send it off to get graded. But any gold I can get for that cheap, I can just kind of stash it and sit on it for now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
So I picked up, let's see, this was on the 3rd. I paid $9.64 for this bad boy. 2022 National Treasures, 6 out of 34 Zachary Tinkle rookie auto. This is my pickup of the week. And that is Zachary Tinkle. That is number 91 in the collection of Zachary Tinkle Inc. So we are cruising to 100, baby. We're almost there. We're almost there.
I almost bought you. I saw a Tinkle on nuts for $5. I almost bought it and sent it to you, but I didn't want to have to pay the $5 shipping on the $5 card.
That's
So
why I didn't buy it. I know it's.
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
It was
it's
this little obsidian,
I know.
and I was like, "They all sent it to Jordan."
I've seen it on the notes group too.
It's on Jeff's post. I know it. I know he has it. I told him I'd buy it, but I'm like, you gotta have something else I gotta buy. I can't justify paying $6 to ship it. It's $1 card. Like I'll pay the $5, but yeah, he just doesn't have anything else for me to buy at the moment. So that's hilarious. I know. I need it. I want them. But I'd love to get some more NT autos, to be honest. I have one of the 2 1-of-1 autos. I'd love to get the other NT 1-of-1. I have not seen it. Nobody's told me they've seen it pulled anywhere else, so fingers crossed I can still snag that one. That'll probably break the all-time high for NASCAR sales when that pops up, because I'll buy it.
Sorry, Jordan, I bought it.
You're
gonna have to buy it off of me.
That's it. Podcast over. Done. Goodbye. We'll see you later.
Yeah, it's over.
Cue the music. Man, that would be great. If you find it, let me know. I'll pay a buyer's premium on that. Like, you wouldn't believe.
I'm sure you would. I'm
Hell
sure you would trade
yeah.
me that. I'm sure you would trade me that Larson Black Finite.
Listen, for a guy that finished 4th in Arca East, God, it's a steal. You'd think it'd be like $60-$70, but it's not. So, and it came in a mag.
Oh God,
It's a double win. It's double
And a mag?
whammy.
That's-
Yeah.
That's
he-
$3
You're giving
right
me
there, man.
PTSD.
Yeah, there you go.
you're giving me
See?
PTSD to this auto tier list. We got to do another one of those auto tier lists too at some point.
Yeah.
You're giving me PTSD
Yes.
to that
Yes.
garbage
Oh,
from
my-
you.
Yeah, Jordan, that was my only point of contention with that list was trying to get Mr. Tinkle on the, S to A. I was
I'm
kind of
telling you,
like
bro.
Listen.
scrunching my eyebrow going, I'm not sure if it's because I get Zachary Tinkle when I don't break I don't do too many boxes, but when I do, I was so sick of seeing him and Quinn Hoff. I would get Quinn Hoff and Tinkle
I
autos
know.
all the time,
They
man.
go hand
I
in
got
hand.
3 it's just I'm like, man, I'm gonna start using these as coasters.
I know they're everywhere. He signed so many, but God love him. He's a great dude. Donates a ton of money to animal shelters. He drives his nuts off, and he's got a cool looking auto. It's just a triple win for me, So yeah, we'll definitely be doing another autograph tier list. I promise we will do that. In a few episodes, we'll knock that out. A lot of people like that too. I thought it'd be fun, but I didn't realize as many people would get a kick out of it. So that was good to hear. So we'll definitely do it again. Definitely gonna do that. But yeah, 3 solid pickups.
Jerry Nadu.
Yeah, that's right, old Jerry.
Another fun pickup I had. I guess we haven't done an episode. Maybe I don't think I talked about it. I picked up a 1994 Max Johnny Benson in card auto, his rookie
Really?
card auto.
Wow.
Yeah, so
What
I
year
got
is
it.
that?
Got it for a whopping 94 Max.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Like it's like an in-person sign. It's not like a
Cool.
set or anything. Like this is just like his first ever card and no signed on card, and I got it for $3. So I was like, oh, that'll be fun.
That's dope. Well, congrats. That's a cool one to pick up. I like
Yeah.
94 Max. There's some cool cards
Cool
in
looking
that
year.
set. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I agree. Well, boys, that puts us we're right at 2 hours. Didn't feel like it. That was I had a blast with that. And Ray, thank you for taking the time tonight to hang out with us here. This was our first time having somebody on. We definitely want to do this more often. So if you have somebody you want us to talk to, or if you want to talk to us, just let us know. Drop us a comment. Shout us out, whatever you want to do. We'll find you. I think the more people we talk to, you get a little more insight on how everybody operates within this beautiful niche hobby that we're a part of. So I enjoyed it, man. It was really, really, really cool. Hopefully we can meet up here soon, whether it's Burbank or whatever. I'm sure we'll find a way to connect. And that'll be a great time. I'll drag Noah out to Burbank. Don't worry. I'll get him there.
Yeah, he'll get me there. Trust me. All he has to do is just dangle a 2016 Prism box in my face, and I fold like butter. And I'm going.
Yeah,
So
he already knows what I was gonna do.
Jordan's too
No, but yeah.
predictable. He has to come up. He's an old dog. He needs new tricks.
Yeah, but they still work, so I like them.
That's
No,
true.
but
They do work.
thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. Honored to be the first guest on here, but no, more so just really enjoyed talking to you guys. Like I said, I just looked at my clock on my computer and I said, "There's no way it's been 2 hours. It hasn't felt like it."
Flew by. But that's the beautiful thing. You just have a fun little convo. It could be 4 or 5 hours. You never know. Makes it fun. Makes it awesome, man. Well, I will get some photos from you. So you guys listening, I'll post up some of the stuff we talked about tonight, and then I'll probably link your Instagram and stuff in the description so they can find you on there. You can continue to network with some of the other fellow hobbyists. But I will say that'll probably do it here for episode 8 of Car Low, Card High. This was our interview with Ray. Thank you, sir. You have a great night. You as well, Noah. I appreciate the time, sir, as always. And this one should go live probably Saturday morning. So if you're listening to this was recorded on Thursday. We'll see you in the comments.
You're still listening, you're a sicko.
Yeah.
2 hours, you're a sicko.
Yeah, you get a gold
Find
star.
someone else to do.
You get a gold star and a fat pack. So absolutely legends for sure. So everybody have a good time or have a good night. Take care. And we will see you guys for episode 9.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.